Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Imagine holding a tiny copper-colored coin in your hand, something so small and ordinary that most people would barely give it a second glance. Yet hidden within it is a story that stretches across centuries of American history, economics, craftsmanship, and collector obsession. The 1-cent USA 2012 coin, often simply called a penny, might look like just another piece of loose change. But when you truly begin to understand its background, its design, its composition, and the rare circumstances that can elevate its worth to astonishing levels, it becomes something far more fascinating than its humble appearance suggests. This coin carries the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been a staple of American currency for over 100 years. First introduced in 1909, to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The 2012 version continues this legacy, but with a modern twist that reflects both tradition and evolution. The obverse side, or the front of the coin, features a detailed portrait of Lincoln facing right, originally designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head, the word "Liberty" is engraved, representing one of the core values of the United States, while the year 2012 sits to the right, marking the coin's place in time. Just above Lincoln's shoulder, you will often see a small letter, either D or S, or sometimes nothing at all, and this is the mint mark, indicating where the coin was produced, whether at the Denver Mint, the San Francisco Mint, or the Philadelphia Mint. Now when you turn the coin over, the reverse side reveals something different from older pennies. Starting in 2010, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design known as the Union Shield. This design symbolizes the unity of the states under one federal government, with a shield featuring 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies, and a banner stretching across it with the words, 1 cent. Above the shield, the phrase, United States of America, is prominently displayed, reinforcing the coin's national identity, while the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one, appears elegantly on the banner. In terms of physical characteristics, the 2012 penny is surprisingly lightweight, weighing exactly 2.5 grams. Unlike older pennies that were made primarily of copper, this modern coin is composed mostly of zinc with a thin copper plating, giving it that classic reddish appearance while keeping production costs low. Its diameter measures 19.05 millimeters, making it small enough to easily slip through your fingers, yet standardized enough to be instantly recognizable anywhere in the United States. But what truly makes this coin intriguing is not just its design or its composition, but the hidden potential it carries in the world of collectors. At face value, it is worth only 1 cent, something most people wouldn't bother picking up from the ground. However, certain rare variations, minting errors, or pristine uncirculated conditions can transform this seemingly insignificant coin into something worth thousands, or in extremely rare cases, even millions. The idea that a coin like this could reach a market value of up to $3 million sounds almost unbelievable. Yet in the world of numismatics, where rarity, demand, and historical significance intersect, such extraordinary valuations are not entirely impossible. Collectors often look for specific details that set one coin apart from millions of others. For example, a 2012 penny with a rare minting error, such as a double die, off-center strike, or unusual metal composition, can dramatically increase its value. Coins that were struck with exceptional clarity, showing sharp details and a flawless surface, are graded highly and can fetch premium prices in auctions. Additionally, coins minted in limited quantities or with unique characteristics from certain mints can become highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay significant amounts to complete their collections. Another factor that contributes to the coin's potential value is its condition, often referred to as its grade. Coins that have never been circulated, known as mint state coins, are especially valuable because they retain their original luster and detail. A 2012 penny in perfect condition, graded MS-70, is extremely rare and can command a high price in the collector's market. Even small imperfections, such as scratches or discoloration, can significantly reduce a coin's value, which is why collectors handle these coins with extreme care, often storing them in protective cases to preserve their condition. The story of the penny itself is deeply intertwined with the history of the United States, reflecting changes in technology, economy, and national identity. From its early days as a large copper coin to its modern zinc composition, the penny has evolved to meet the needs of the time. The 2012 version represents a continuation of this evolution, blending traditional imagery with modern production techniques. As you continue to explore the world of this coin, you begin to realize that its true value is not just measured in dollars, but in the stories it carries, the history it represents, and the fascination it sparks among collectors and enthusiasts. And while most 2012 pennies will remain worth only their face value, the possibility that one of them could be worth a fortune adds an element of excitement and mystery that keeps people searching, collecting, and dreaming. To really understand why a simple 2012 1-cent coin can spark so much excitement among collectors, you have to step deeper into the hidden mechanics of coin production and the rare imperfections that occasionally escape the strict quality control of the United States Mint. Every coin begins its life as a perfectly calculated metal blank, fed into high-speed machinery designed to strike thousands of coins per minute. In theory, each piece should come out identical, flawless, and consistent. But in reality, even the most advanced minting systems are still operated by mechanical pressure, timing, and human oversight, which means small errors can and do happen. And in the world of numismatics, those errors are where the real magic lies. The 2012 penny, like other modern Lincoln cents, was primarily produced in massive quantities at different mint facilities, including Denver and Philadelphia. Because of this large-scale production, billions of these coins entered circulation, making the standard versions extremely common and generally not valuable beyond their face value. However, within that enormous production run, a few unusual variations have been discovered that attract serious attention from collectors who understand how rarity transforms value. One of the most talked about types of variation is the mint error. These errors can occur in many different forms, each with its own level of rarity and potential market impact. A double die error, for example, happens when the coin die imprints the design slightly more than once, creating a subtle but visible doubling effect on letters or numbers. On a 2012 penny, this could appear in inscriptions like Liberty or the date 2012, and depending on how pronounced the doubling is, the coin can become significantly more desirable. Collectors are particularly drawn to these kinds of mistakes because they represent something unintended by the mint, almost like a fingerprint of imperfection in an otherwise controlled system. Another type of error that can increase interest is the off-center strike, where the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. Instead of the design being perfectly centered, part of the image may appear shifted, leaving a blank crescent on one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can become, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. There are also cases of clip planchets, where part of the metal blank is missing before striking, resulting in a coin with a curved or incomplete edge. Then, there are more subtle anomalies, such as die cracks or die chips, where the minting die itself begins to wear down over time, leaving raised lines or bumps on the finished coin. While these might seem like minor flaws, to experienced collectors they can indicate a specific stage of production, making the coin part of a very limited and traceable batch. Beyond errors, another important factor in determining the value of a 2012 penny is its grade, which is assigned by professional coin grading services. These services evaluate coins based on surface quality, strike sharpness, luster, and overall eye appeal. Coins are typically graded on a scale that ranges from heavily circulated, low-grade examples to perfect mint state specimens. A coin that has never been touched by human hands after leaving the mint, often referred to as a perfect uncirculated coin, is considered extremely rare simply because so many coins enter circulation immediately after production. The difference in value between a regular circulated penny and a high-grade mint state version can be enormous. While most 2012 pennies remain worth exactly 1 cent, a perfectly preserved example with no visible marks or where might attract collectors willing to pay a premium, especially if it comes from a sealed mint roll or proof set. Proof coins, in particular, are specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish that stands out dramatically compared to normal circulation coins. Now, when people talk about extreme valuations, like $3 million, it is important to understand the context behind such claims. In the world of coin collecting, extraordinary prices are usually associated with either unique error coins, historically significant pieces, or one-of-a-kind specimens that have been authenticated and verified through rigorous grading and auction history. While a standard 2012 penny will never realistically reach such a value, the possibility is often mentioned in online discussions and speculative listings to highlight the extreme upper end of the collector market, where rare anomalies sometimes achieve surprising auction results. This is where psychology also plays a role. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying stories, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. The idea that a common-looking penny in your pocket could potentially be a rare variant worth thousands creates a sense of curiosity that keeps people checking their change even today. This emotional connection between everyday objects and hidden value is one of the strongest forces driving the popularity of coin collecting as a hobby. In addition to mint errors and grading, another subtle factor that influences desirability is the mint mark itself. Coins from different mints can sometimes have slightly different production qualities, and in rare cases, one mint may produce fewer high-quality examples in a given year. Collectors often seek out coins from specific mints to complete full sets, and even small differences in availability can affect pricing over time. As you go deeper into the study of the 2012 penny, you begin to realize that what appears to be a simple object is actually part of a complex system involving metallurgy, industrial precision, historical symbolism, and collector psychology. Every detail, from the alignment of the strike to the tiniest imperfection in the die, can turn an ordinary coin into something that stands out in the numismatic world. And as interest continues to grow around modern coins like this one, the search for rare examples becomes even more intense, with collectors carefully examining every roll, every pocket change find, and every auction listing, hoping to uncover that one extraordinary piece that tells a different story from the billions that came before it. As the fascination with the 2012 USA 1-cent coin continues to grow, it becomes important to understand how the market for such coins actually works behind the scenes, because the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one that sells for thousands or even millions is not just luck, but a combination of demand, rarity, authentication, and collector psychology operating together in a very specific ecosystem. In the global numismatic market, coins are not just traded as currency, but as collectible assets. Dealers, auction houses, private collectors, and grading companies all play a role in shaping the perceived value of a coin. The 2012 penny, despite being a modern circulation coin, enters this system whenever it shows unusual characteristics or is preserved in exceptional condition. But what truly determines whether a coin gains serious attention is its verified rarity. Authentication is the first and most important step. A coin that is claimed to be rare must be examined by professional grading services that specialize in detecting mint errors, verifying originality, and assigning a precise grade. These services use magnification tools, metal analysis, and comparison databases to ensure that the coin is not altered, cleaned, or artificially modified. Without this authentication, even a coin with a strange appearance has little to no credibility in the high-end collector market. Once authenticated, the coin is assigned a grade and sometimes a special designation if it has a recognizement error. This grading not only influences its value, but also determines how serious collectors perceive it. A coin graded at a high level, such as MS mint state, with a near-perfect score, becomes significantly more attractive because it represents an untouched piece of production history. Now, when people hear claims that a 2012 penny could be worth up to $3 million, it is usually tied to extreme theoretical scenarios rather than typical market conditions. Such valuations would only apply if a coin possessed a combination of highly unusual traits. For example, a one-of-a-kind minting error, perfect preservation, verified uniqueness, and strong historical or collector demand all at the same time. In reality, only a very small number of coins in world history have ever reached such astronomical values, and they are usually tied to ancient coins, famous mint mistakes, or historically significant specimens. However, the idea still persists in online discussions because it captures attention and fuels curiosity. People are naturally drawn to the possibility that something ordinary might secretly be extraordinary. This is why modern coins, like the 2012 penny, often become the subject of viral videos and speculative claims. While most of these claims are exaggerated, they still serve a purpose. They introduce new audiences to the world of coin collecting and encourage people to look more closely at everyday currency. Another key factor in the coin's perceived value is scarcity within specific error categories. Even though billions of 2012 pennies were minted, the number of coins with significant, verifiable errors is extremely small. For example, a double die that is clearly visible without magnification is far rarer than minor surface variations. Similarly, a major off-center strike that still retains full date visibility is much more desirable than a slightly misaligned coin. The more dramatic and visually obvious the error, the more attention it tends to receive from collectors. Collectors also evaluate coins based on eye appeal, which refers to how visually attractive a coin is beyond technical grading. A coin with strong luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces will always stand out more than a dull or worn example, even if both share the same grade. This subjective element often plays a surprising role in final auction prices, because collectors are willing to pay extra for coins that simply look better in hand or under display lighting. The market for modern pennies, like the 2012 issue, is also influenced by supply dynamics. Because so many of these coins are still in circulation, most examples are easy to find, which keeps their base value extremely low. However, as time passes and more coins are lost, damaged, or melted down, the number of high-quality surviving examples gradually decreases. This slow reduction in available supply can, over decades, create small increases in collector interest, especially for pristine or unusual specimens. There is also a strong educational and emotional aspect to this coin's popularity. Many new collectors start their journey with pennies because they are accessible, familiar, and easy to study. The Lincoln Cent series, in particular, offers a rich history that spans over a century, making it one of the most collected coin series in the world. The 2012 penny represents a modern continuation of that legacy, connecting today's economy with the long tradition of American coinage. In professional collecting circles, serious investors often focus less on circulation pennies and more on proof sets, error coins with certification, and historically significant issues. However, even they acknowledge that modern coins occasionally surprise the market when a truly rare error is discovered and properly authenticated. These rare moments are what keep the hobby dynamic and unpredictable. And so, the story of the 2012 USA 1-cent coin is not just about copper-plated zinc or a small piece of currency. It is about the hidden possibilities within everyday objects, the precision and imperfection of industrial minting, and the endless curiosity of collectors who continue to search for meaning and value in something most people would overlook without a second thought. At this point, when you bring everything together, the design, the composition, the minting process, the rare errors, and the collector market, you start to see the 2012 USA 1-cent coin in a completely different light. What once looked like an ordinary penny becomes a symbol of how value is never fixed, but instead created through perception, rarity, and human interest. Most of these coins will live their entire existence exactly as intended, passing from hand to hand, sitting in jars, getting lost in couches, or quietly disappearing into circulation without ever being noticed. They will remain worth exactly 1 cent, unchanged and unremarkable in the eyes of everyday use. But hidden within this massive population of coins are the rare few that escape the ordinary path. These are the coins that carry anomalies so subtle or so dramatic that they break away from their standard identity and enter a completely different category of value. When collectors talk about a coin reaching extremely high values, like hundreds of thousands or even speculative millions, what they are really referring to is a perfect storm scenario. This would require a coin that is not only unique in its error, but also authenticated beyond doubt, preserved in flawless condition, and backed by strong demand from elite collectors or institutions. In reality, such cases are extraordinarily rare in modern coinage, but the idea continues to circulate because it represents the dream side of collecting, the belief that something ordinary in your hand might be something extraordinary in disguise. The 2012 penny also reflects something deeper about modern economics and production. It represents a system where billions of identical objects are created with extreme precision, yet perfection is never absolute. Even in a world driven by advanced machinery and strict quality control, there is always room for variation. And it is within that variation that collectors find meaning, opportunity, and excitement. From a historical perspective, the Lincoln cent series itself is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. It has survived wars, economic changes, inflation debates, and even discussions about whether the penny should continue to exist at all. Through all of this, the design has evolved, but the central figure of Abraham Lincoln has remained, symbolizing unity, leadership, and national identity. The 2012 version is simply one small chapter in that long story, yet it carries the same legacy as coins minted decades before it. In the end, the true value of the 2012 USA 1-cent coin is not something that can be measured only in dollars. Its real worth lies in the curiosity it inspires, the history it represents, and the way it connects everyday people to the larger world of numismatics. It teaches a simple but powerful lesson: value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes it is hidden in detail, in rarity, or in the smallest imperfection that most people would never notice. So the next time you see a penny dated 2012, it may still just be a penny. But it also represents possibility, the possibility that within ordinary objects, extraordinary stories can exist, waiting quietly to be discovered by someone curious enough to look closer.